The official trailer for John Carter 2 is here, starring Taylor Kitsch in the role that made him a legend. This time the stakes are higher, the battles are bigger, and the adventure is more thrilling than ever. Journey back to Barsoom, where ancient secrets are unearthed, new enemies rise, and John Carter faces challenges that will push him to his very limits. If you thought the first adventure was wild, just wait till you see what's in store this time. Remember the movie John Carter? Yeah, the one that was supposed to kick off a big trilogy? Well, it looks like Hollywood might be giving it another shot. With all the rumors about reviving old favorites, there's talk that we could finally see a sequel. And guess who's rumored to be at the helm? Andrew Stanton, the genius behind Toy Story. He's the perfect fit to lead Disney's adaptation of Edgar Rice Burroughs' sci-fi epic, A Princess of Mars. Now let's dive into what John Carter 2 might have looked like. Andrew Stanton revealed to Collider that the sequel was going to be called Gods of Mars, just like in the first movie where Willem Dafoe's character Tars narrates part of the story. This time around, Lynn Collins' character Deja would take the lead in the storytelling department. The sequel kicks off with Deja telling their son Cathoris all about the wild events from the first movie. She believes he'll never get to know his dad, John Carter. But then, things take a turn. Claren Hines' character, Tardos Mors, swoops in to tuck the kid in for the night. Except, surprise, Tardos Mors is actually a shapeshifter named Matai Sheng, played by Mark Strong from Kingsman. He snatches the kid and disappears. Cue the opening credits and we're back on Barsoom, or Mars. Fast forward 10 years and John Carter's back in action, only to find out that Deja has been on a mission to find their missing son. Talk about a setup for an epic adventure. John Carter teams up with Tars Tarkus to track down Deja, following her trail to a hidden city run by ancient beings called the Firstborns. These mysterious creatures worship the goddess Isis and have been secretly controlled by Barsoom's resources like water and plants from the very beginning. But Carter quickly realizes something's off. This goddess is none other than the shapeshifter Matai Sheng in disguise. Determined to stop Shang and save his son, Carter uncovers the truth and nearly ends up fighting his own son, who's been genetically enhanced into a superhuman warrior by Matai. But don't worry, it all works out. Deja, Carter, and their son finally reunite, and together they form a powerful alliance with the Red, Green, and Firstborn races to take down the Therns, the real villains behind all the chaos. In the third chapter, John Carter 3, Warlord of Mars, things get even crazier. Carter's in a race against time to stop the Therns from blowing up the entire planet. These shape-shifting troublemakers have been stirring up conflict among the Martian races by pretending to be important leaders. Meanwhile, Deja is busy inventing a gadget to detect the Therns in their disguises. Just when she's about to succeed, the Therns destroy her invention and even attempt to take down Carter. But here's the twist. Carter isn't the one they've targeted. It's just a clone, while the real Carter wakes back up on Earth. With the help of his trusty sidekick Edgar and a shotgun, Carter fights off the Thern goons and returns to Mars. With the planet on the brink of disaster, Carter and his crew journey to the farthest reaches of Mars, armed with their new Thern detector. Along the way, they face off against Matai Sheng, and Carter finally defeats him, saving Mars and earning the title of the one and only Warlord of Mars. If the incredible sequel ideas weren't enough to convince you that the John Carter franchise deserves a revival, let me give you another compelling reason. The John Carter stories have played a crucial role in shaping modern science fiction as we know it today. The first John Carter novel, A Princess of Mars, was originally serialized in All Story magazine from February to July 1912. This groundbreaking story introduced readers to a fascinating world on the red planet, Mars, a place teeming with a dying civilization, strange and incredible creatures, and advanced technology. The hero John Carter finds himself caught in the middle of a fierce conflict between the Tharks, green Martians, and the human-like red Martians who live in rival city-states. These stories are some of the earliest examples of what we now call pulp space opera, blending elements of westerns, war stories, and traditional sci-fi to create a rich and immersive alternate universe. John Carter's superhuman abilities, thanks to Mars' lower gravity, even laid the foundation for the superhero archetype, predating characters like Superman by about 25 years. The impact of these stories on modern science fiction is immense. Esteemed figures like Carl Sagan and celebrated authors like Ray Bradbury, Frank Herbert, and Arthur C. Clarke have all acknowledged the influence of John Carter on their work. The classic Flash Gordon and Buck Rogers serials from the 1930s also drew inspiration from Edgar Rice Burroughs' tales, shaping the imaginations of future generations of filmmakers. One of those filmmakers is James Cameron, who has openly credited the John Carter stories as a major influence on his Avatar movies, which also feature an Earthling discovering a new and wondrous world. Even Michael Crichton gave a nod to these iconic tales by naming a character after John Carter in his popular hospital drama ER. And let's not forget George Lucas, who started the epic Star Wars saga with Burroughs stories in mind. Without Burroughs' pioneering work, the science fiction landscape of the 20th century might have looked very different, or might not have existed at all. Given this rich legacy, a John Carter remake has the potential to bring something truly special to the world of science fiction. Despite its rocky start, the original 2012 film has developed a loyal fan base over the years, even if it hasn't entirely shaken off the setbacks of its initial release. A decade later, writer Richard Newby reflected on its impact in The Hollywood Reporter. He acknowledged the film's flaws, but also praised its charm, action-packed sequences, and its faithful adaptation of Burroughs' vision. Devoted fans of the Mars novels still hold the film in high regard, and the potential for a broader franchise is clear. Reviving John Carter could not only honor its influential roots, but also expand the landscape of modern science fiction. With the right approach, a new John Carter film could captivate both old fans and new audiences, making it a valuable addition to the genre's rich tapestry. The time is ripe for a return to Barsoom, and who knows? This could be the spark that reignites a beloved yet underappreciated sci-fi legacy. Matai Shang's a character from the Barsoom series, which is the basis for the John Carter stories. He's the leader of a mysterious and manipulative group known as the Therns, who are one of the primary antagonistic forces in the series. The Therns are an ancient Martian race that controls much of the religious and political power on Barsoom through deception and manipulation. Matai Shang himself is depicted as cunning and deceitful, using his abilities to manipulate others and maintain the Therns' control over the planet. In the context of potential film sequels, Matai Shang would continue to be a major antagonist, using his shape-shifting abilities and manipulation to create obstacles for John Carter and his companions. His actions are central to the conflicts and challenges that the heroes face as they fight to expose the truth and protect their world. Director Andrew Stanton originally had big plans for a John Carter trilogy, but those dreams were put on hold after the first film didn't perform as well as expected. While it might seem unlikely that the original movie will be revisited, there's still plenty of hope. Edgar Rice Burroughs' novels, which inspired the film, are just as captivating today as they were when they were first published. Burroughs wrote 11 novels in the Barsoom series, so there's no shortage of material to draw from. This rich source material could easily support multiple seasons of a TV series, or even a new series of films. The potential for a reboot is incredibly enticing, especially given the expansive world and exciting adventures that are just waiting to be explored. One of the biggest challenges to reviving John Carter is the fact that the Star Wars franchise has become the dominant force in the realm of swashbuckling space operas. It's easy to worry that John Carter might get overshadowed by such a massive, beloved franchise. However, John Carter has something unique to offer that could set it apart. If done right, a new